Have you ever pushed yourself to the brink of collapse in pursuit of perfection? There's only one leading role in the stage, and the price may be your sanity, your body, or even your life. My name is Nina Sayers, and this is the story of how I became her. I woke up still lost in the dream, that lightness, that freedom. I was dancing the White Swan. In the dream, I was her, pure, flawless, graceful, noble. The first thing I did when I opened my eyes was tell my mother, Erica.
I had the craziest dream last night. I was dancing the White Swan.
My voice airy, as if still half in the dream. At breakfast, I was in an especially good mood. Mom could tell. She was always so perceptive. Even the slightest shift in my breath wouldn't escape her. "What's the good news today?" she asked. I couldn't help but smile and tell her, "You deserve it, sweetheart." Her tone was so certain that I almost started to believe I truly was worthy of it. After the meal, she tried to help me dress, but the moment she saw the skin on my back, her expression changed. I answered quickly. I couldn't let her worry, and I couldn't let her control me any more than she already did. I finished dressing without another word and went straight to the theater. Inside, I overheard the other girls talking about Beth. She was a seasoned dancer, someone I'd always looked up to, but now her time seemed to be ending. I stayed silent, just listening. They said she was old, useless, so casually. I blurted out. They laughed, as if humoring a child. A flicker of anger rose in me. Just then, a new girl walked in, Lily. She wasn't like us, bold, effortless, like the very air shifted when she entered. I couldn't help but watch her. Neither could anyone else. Feeling a twinge of inferiority complex, I could only vent my madness into my dancing shoes.
At that day's rehearsal, Thomas announced he was looking for a girl who could perform both the White Swan and the Black Swan well. He walked among us like a hunter, surveying his prey, each step carrying an oppressive weight. Everyone held their breath, like school children waiting for their grades to be announced. I stood there too, my back rigidly straight, sweat soaking through the fabric on my spine, yet I didn't dare move. His hand landed on one shoulder after another, that light tap like a nail being hammered in, sealing their fate. And then he walked right past me without touching me. I froze for a second, my mind stuttering, but the next moment, my heart relaxed just slightly. I actually felt relief. I hadn't been chosen. That meant I still had a chance.
And the girls I didn't have, meet me in the principal's studio at 5. Thank you.
After rehearsal, I saw Beth. She was having a breakdown in her dressing room, throwing things, screaming. She'd just been told she was out of the production.
What?
I stood by the door, silently watching her leave, then stepped inside. Her scent still lingered in the room. I sat down, picked up her lipstick, and felt a strange thrill. Maybe now it was finally my turn. I would become the new Beth. Maybe even better, more perfect. On the day of the audition, I stepped onto the stage full of hope. Thomas watched me, and I could feel his scrutiny, his expectation. I danced the White Swan's part with everything I had. It was my strength. He seemed pleased.
But I'm not.
But when I started the Black Swan's variation, I felt my own restraint. I was mimicking a darkness, a desire I didn't truly understand rather than embodying it. Then Lily burst in. I lost focus, stumbled.
Should I go again?
No, thanks, Ina. No.
I nodded, but inside the disappointment was unbearable. I hadn't been perfect, and I knew if I wasn't perfect, I was nothing. When I got home, I broke down, sobbing in my mother's arms. She held me, gentle as always, but that comfort only made it worse. She said I was trying too hard, but I had no choice. I had to tell Thomas I danced perfectly, even though I knew, deep down, it wasn't true. Desperate to prove myself, but I've let myself get hurt, and I'd rather blame Lily for all of this. The next day I went to the theater and told Thomas I was ready, but he still said I was too restrained as the Black Swan, that I needed to loosen up, to let go. I could feel tears welling up in my eyes. Was I really not enough? I had given everything. I felt like I was falling into an abyss, but just as I turned to leave, he called me back. He said he wanted me to prove myself, warning me not to obsess over perfection. It would become my prison. Then he did something that made me deeply uncomfortable. He touched me, even tried to kiss me. I recoiled in shock and hurried away. My mind was a tangled mess. Shame, anger, fear, and that relentless hunger I couldn't shake. That evening, a few girls were whispering backstage, saying the cast list for Swan Lake had been posted. I pretended not to care, but my pulse quickened. I forced myself to stay composed. congratulated Veronica, and was about to walk away when suddenly she stormed up to me. I froze, completely lost. Then I turned and saw the list. My name, right there under the Swan Queen. For a few seconds, I just stared, making sure it wasn't a hallucination. As I rushed to the bathroom, pulling out my phone with shaking hands, I called Mom. My voice cracked.
You hear me?
For the first time in what felt like years, like something silent inside me had finally broken open. At home, while Mom helped me change, she saw the rash on my back again, and her expression darkened. She demanded. I stayed silent, unable to explain. She sighed, shaking her head, then grabbed nail clippers and forcibly cut my nails short. She was always like this, always controlling, always for my own good. The next day at rehearsal, someone bursts in with news. Something happened to Beth. My chest tightened. After rehearsal, I went to see Thomas. His face was grim as he said. Thomas tried to comfort me, telling me not to dwell on it. But how could I not? I still went to the hospital. I brought flowers. I remember that moment when the air suddenly turned solid, her eyes hollow yet burning with fury. Only a table separated us, yet it felt like an entire abyss. She stared at me as if I'd stolen everything from her. I wanted to explain, but the words stuck in my throat. Then she picked up the nail file from the table. My eyes widened. I lunged forward, trying to wrest the file from her hand. Then the scene shifted. I stood in the elevator. I stumbled home like a lost child, teetering between reality and nightmare. I even began to doubt. Had any of it really happened? My breathing turned ragged, my mind swollen like soaked parchment. My eyes were bloodshot now. The rash on my back had worsened. I could barely stand. I collapsed, blacked out. I started unraveling, trusting those around me less and less. Lily, especially Lily. She moved through the company with effortless grace, an anomaly, while I carved myself apart with every step. She was stealing my movements, stealing my role. Sometimes I wondered if she even existed at all. Was she another version of me, the shadow self I couldn't control, the one unafraid to let go? If she was just a hallucination, why could I hear her laughter, feel the chill of her presence on my skin? The night of the premiere arrived. Backstage was chaos and I was dangling over the edge. I checked my costume again and again, convinced something was wrong. That dress, where was it? I searched frantically only to see Lily wearing my tutu. She meant to go on. She meant to replace me. Get away from me! I hurled myself at her, voice shaking, hysterical. Her body slammed into the mirror. Glass shattered. Time froze. She slumped to the floor, eyes vacant as a grotesque painting. I stood there trembling, horrified, yet terribly lucid. I hid her away, stuffed her into that dark corner. Then I walked onto the stage. The spotlight fell upon me like judgment, like salvation. I began the Black Swan solo. My body was light as a feather, yet tears welled in my eyes. I spun between death and rebirth, every second a struggle, and I did, completely. In that moment, I was the Black Swan. I was finally free. During the curtain call, I retreated slowly, my steps light, but my heart hollow. She was smiling, but it wasn't the smile I recognized. Then, a knock at the door. It was Lily. She stood there, smiling at me, her eyes not hostile, but kind. I froze, staring at her, but she was dead, wasn't she? I stumbled to the bathroom. It was empty. No Lily, no blood. My heart pounded, my mind splitting open. A sharp pain stabbed through my chest. I lifted my skirt. A crimson streak of blood ran down my abdomen. I wrapped a towel around it hastily, tightened my costume, took a deep breath, and stepped out of the dressing room. The stage lights called to me. I moved to the rhythm, standing once more in the spotlight. The audience held its breath, and I was finally free. The White Swan's final act began. I danced slowly, as if the entire world existed only in this moment. I forgot the pain, the blood, Lily, everything. This was my stage, my farewell. As the last note faded, I collapsed into the death pose, sinking into the feather-soft floor. The world fell silent. Then, applause, deafening, rapturous, like standing in heaven itself. Thomas rushed over, grinning. I only smiled up at him. His expression changed. I saw the flicker of fear in his eyes. The crowd stirred into panic. Someone ran for a medic, but I just closed my eyes, listening as the applause continued. Waves of sound cradling me, carrying me gently away from reality.